Chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I have a very harmonious and incredible chess game that was played between the third chess engine and me. This chess game is very crucial and profound in various tactical aspects in the opening of the modern variation. This game was played in the Computer Chess Championship, and Torch is the number 2 chess engine worldwide. As you know, Torch is also a great AI, so let's get started without wasting any time. I started the game with e4, we have g6. d4 followed by knight to c3, deploying the modern approach in the center, we have d6, and this is called the modern variation from black's perspective, where knight d7 and e5 can come into the game, we have bishop e3, and consequently, we have queen d2. My idea is very clear, I move my queen to b3 to launch a heavy attack along this diagonal. By playing f3, I will be able to push my g and h pawns on the king side, creating significant pressure on the h-file. Also, my king will be safely castled on the queen side. In its bride's house, Torch seemed very logical and played c6 because it wanted to play b5 and a5 to push forward its pawns, with queen to b6 because my king will go to its bride's house, so I played f3. The logic is very clear, to push forward on g4. A few moves later, we have h4 followed by knight f6 to protect the h-file square. Many chess players might consider g4, but it is not the best move because black will just respond on the h-file. Therefore, I played knight h3, a crucial move. After knight b6, we have a4 to push forward on a5, and Torch decided to exchange pieces on h3 and pushed its pawn to h5. Many players might consider a5, but their moves are completely foolish because when your goal is in front of you, you should not hit the golf ball in the opposite direction. Thus, you should play the long castle, which is exactly what I did in the game. Torch played e6, seeming very happy in this middle game position. Let's see how I approached my pieces to attack black. After bishop e2, the knight moves back, indicating that it wants to push forward its pawn to b5, launching a heavy attack along with the queen. After bishop g5, the knight moves back, and we have bishop h6. The point is clear. Many players might consider rook g8 instead of capturing the bishop. Therefore, I will just capture the bishop. Consequently, I will not play queen to h6, as it is not the best move. The best move in this position is the greater one. Can you guess what the best move in this position would be? The best and crucial move is pawn to d5, striking in the center. After you capture the pawn and the recapture happens, we have e5, black thinks that its center structure is stabilized like a backbone. Then I can strike in by playing f4, forcing a capture, and then the file will be open. Subsequently, queen takes f4, and knight e7 comes on the board with the idea of playing long castle. Therefore, I played the tactical move you might imagine, knight to b5. Attacking the queen and the pawn at the same time, this position will be just over for you. Do you know this is a +5 advantage for me, like winning a rook and you having nothing. Anyway, going back to the position, we discovered that playing rook g8 is a very bad choice, which is why we have the bishop exchanges, too, in the game. Now he played d5, and I locked down the position. Knight e7 followed in the game, and now playing queen g7 was my desired move, which I actually accomplished in the game. We have long castle, and I captured the pawn. The point is very clear that the pawn is under attack. Playing queen d7 is not the best move. So, let me share an inspirational quote with you. If you want to fly, you've got to give up the shit that weighs you down. Torch finds the best move because it is enlightened by its torchlight and played knight f8 to protect these two buddies. We have queen f6 to attack the rook, and as the rook moves, we have bishop to d3 targeting the g6 pawn. My rook will come to the g3 square to add more pressure. Alright, so as the king moves, we have a6 in the game to protect that square from the knight attack. Black here wants to consider c5 to open up the c-file in order to get some advantages. Knight e2 followed by c5 followed in the game. The point is that you should not capture the pawn. The best move that Torch played was knight to c6. Putting more pressure on the center pawn because the center pawn is more important than any other pawns. We have f4, and after a couple of moves, you can see that the queen comes to a5, attacking the pawn again. Now many chess players might consider b4 to stabilize the pawn structure, but it is a completely foolish move. Can you guess why? Black will play the shocking move that can shock you and cause nightmares in your dreams. Knight takes b4, sacrificing the knight right away. After a capture, queen b4 check will arrive, and regardless of the king's move, queen takes a4 will follow. Even if you play king c1, it does not matter because rook takes c5 will check the king. As the bishop blocks, another rook will join the party to bring the candles and firecrackers with queen takes a4, pressurizing the bishop. The game and the situation will be very burdensome for you. Alright, so going back to the reason, we discovered that playing b4 is a very bad choice. That's why we have g4. After some exchanges, you can see that your pawn on g6 is very dangerous, and I can create a passed pawn. After a couple of moves, you can see that we have queen e3, proposing a queen exchange, but he ignored my queen exchange. Now I will hunt him because he declined my queen exchange offer. Nobody declines my offer, he did. And he will face my punishment in the haunted house when I take action with my 30-year-old car on c4. There, my queen can come to b6 in this position. Capturing the pawn on c4 is a very bad choice. Let me show you the variation. After I capture and the rook exchanges, you can see that my queen can easily come to the b6 square, giving a check. The rook on d3 can also come to the d file. The position for the black king will be just over and overwhelmed. So, going back to the position, we discovered that capturing the pawn is a very bad choice. That's why the queen moves back, and my rook comes to c2. A few moves later, you can see that the king moves back to a8. We have some pawn exchanges on the d5 square, and after a couple of moves, the rook comes to f2, followed by f5 happening on the board. The point is very clear that if you capture the pawn, the file will be open for the rook. So, after one move, can you guess what I played in this position? The move is very crucial. I hope you can find it. The move is bishop takes a6. What an incredible move it is. Because if you dare to capture my bishop, I will play queen to c6 check, attacking the rook. That's why you cannot block the check with your queen. As the king moves, we have some checks on the board, and the king and queen are dancing in the nightclub. If you consider queen a7, I will play queen to c6 check, attacking the rook, and I will win the rook on the next move. The position will be a dead loss for you. Going back to the position, the bishop should not be captured, which is why we just have pawn captures and bishop to b5, attacking the rook. Now, we have a6 on the board in one move. The point is very clear that if you capture the pawn, your king will be very exposed. After d4 and the capture on b7, we have the rook moving up to h3, threatening to go to the a3 square, putting the king in a precarious situation. The king will be just dead lost. Black has nothing to do except queen takes b5, then we have queen to a3 check, forcing the king to move. When the king moves to b5, rook b3 comes on the board, winning the queen. With the queen up, I am completely winning the game. A few moves later, you can see that I am just winning up the rook, and shortly after, it will be checkmate on the c6 square. I hope you enjoyed the game very much. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye bye, take care, see you soon.